bit more than just subjectivity. There seems to be something that I think my religious tradition, at its best, is trying to get to, and I think many other religions, I don't see it necessarily as a question of proving or disproving the existence of a divine puppeteer that either started things going or periodically intervenes to tell me which way to go.
Simon, hang on one second.
So,
You've given us a lot to talk about here, and I want to hear what Richard Dawkins has to say about that.
Well, obviously, if I may say so, you are one of the sophisticated Christians that I wasn't actually talking about before. What I'm curious about was why, when you say the things that you say, which obviously I can respect, why you bother to call yourself a Christian rather than saying that you believe in some kind of higher power. I mean, the Lutheran tradition that you espouse goes a lot further than just saying there is a higher power. And I should have thought that you would meet your own intellectual needs by saying, I don't know anything about this higher power, I just think that it is there, and that it had something to do with starting the universe off, perhaps running the way the universe goes on. But the so-called truths that you say you get out of your Lutheran tradition, I don't understand why you bother with them, really.
To the phones to Maura in Minneapolis. Hi, Maura, you're on Mid-Morning.
Hello,
Hi.
Thank you. My name's Moira Mannion, and first, Mr. Dawkins, I want to thank you so much for your book, because I grew up, especially during the 60s, I was thrown out of school because I was an atheist and said so, and refused to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And nowadays, I have, when people confront me about my beliefs or lack of beliefs, I can point to your books and the books that were inspired because your book was published and say, if you want some education about atheism, here's a place to look. And also, when a person talking about, if you're an atheist, how do you see the beauty in the world? Well, right now I'm sitting here in the sunshine with two cats next to me. I'm looking at some trees and some snow. And to me, they're as equally beautiful, having not been created at some point by a deity, a being, and they're just beautiful in and of themselves.
Well, I would agree with that, and I think actually they're more beautiful because you understand, or we understand, something about how they came into existence. But I'm interested that when you were at school, you refused to say the Pledge of Allegiance, because am I not right that the addition of the phrase, one nation under God, is a very recent addition to the Pledge of Allegiance?
This was about 1960. I believe that came in 1954 with it.
1954.
Yeah.
So the original Pledge of Allegiance never had under God, and you would not have had to refuse to say it.
Well, exactly. Well, even George Washington himself said that America is no way a Christian, founded on the Christian belief system. It's not a Christian nation.
And that was common to, I think, all the founding fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Maura, thanks very much for your call. Appreciate it. 800-242-2828, 651-227-6000. Again, if you're getting a busy signal, join us online at minnesotapublicradio.org and click on Send a Question. I want to ask you about something that I was reading that Steven Pinker, the Harvard psychologist and author, recently wrote, that the more we learn about where the world came from and even how our sense of morality evolved, the less reason there is to believe in God. Do you believe that?
Yes, I think I do. Steven Pinker is a great friend, and I enormously respect him. I think I would agree with that.
Why?
Because I think that if we're talking about morality, I don't believe that any really moral person would base their morals on either the Bible or the Quran. I would certainly hope that they wouldn't. There is a flourishing discipline of moral philosophy which discusses morality from such points of view as the greatest benefit to the greatest number, something like that, which points out inconsistencies in people's moral view. If you hold a certain view on abortion, then you're being inconsistent if you hold another view on something else. And so, although I think the scientific worldview can't actually say with any absolute certainty such and such is moral and such is not moral. That's not what science does. Nevertheless, a kind of scientific form of reasoning can point out to people that there are inconsistencies in their moral outlook.
One of the things I think he's also getting at here is that the more we learn about neuroscience, the more we're learning about how the brain has developed a sense of morality. Is that
Yes.
And I think he's saying the more we're going to learn about the way the brain evolved, the less we're going to believe that our sense of morality comes from some higher power, not in our physiology.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is growing evidence, and I think it may be what he's referring to, for a kind of universal morality which transcends different religious traditions and lack of religion. Things like the golden rule: do as you would be done by. Do unto others as you wish them to do unto you. These are, if not universal, extremely widespread. They happen to have been adopted by many religions, and there's increasing evidence that they are part of our brain heritage, that they're built into us in much the same way as a lust for sex is built into us by
Do you think that's true?
Well, I mean, I think, as he says, as Pinker says, there's increasing evidence that it is true, yes.
To the phones to Rita in Robbinsdale. Hi, Rita.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I have a couple of comments. One of the comments is based on something that was said earlier about truth as being kind of the only beauty to embrace. And I think that discounts the beauty of mystery, that there's a great deal of mystery in the world that we don't know, we don't understand, and there's beauty in learning to walk the line between needing to know the truth and the willingness to accept mystery. And the second comment that I would make is that not all of us who are Christians, or perhaps the better term would be believers in Jesus, would be to say that, we don't all believe that there was a virgin birth, or that Jesus walked on water, or, any of those things, even necessarily a resurrection, that those things aren't required to believe in Jesus, the man, his message. And so I think that, and to still believe in God, you can't just lump all believers of God into the Christian fundamentalist camp.
Yes, thank you. Your first point about mystery, I think there are two very different attitudes to mystery. A scientist, in a way, loves mystery because it's a challenge. It's something that we need to break. We have enormous mystery. I mean, science faces mystery all the time, and we go on for hundreds of years facing mystery. It's a challenge. We work on the mystery. We go to work and try to understand the mystery, try to dispel it. The other attitude is to revel in mystery, to enjoy mystery, to say, oh, these things were not meant for us to understand. And if that's what you think, I think I would part company with you. I would regard mystery as something wonderful to be solved. Now, your other point, that not all Christians believe in all those things like virgin birth and walking on water and so on, that, of course, is true. There is a spectrum. There does come a point where you wonder why you bothered to call yourself a Christian at all. As I said to the first gentleman who phoned, why bother to call yourself a Christian? Why not just say, I'm a deist who believes in some kind of higher power? It does seem to me that if you're going to go the step further and call yourself a Christian, then you must be committed to something a bit more than just that. And most Christians that I know, even if they've given up on walking on water and water into wine, they do hold on to the resurrection as being the one thing that does define you as a Christian.
I want to come back to the idea of mystery.